Hello everyone, very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of you. This is your host Vaibhav. In today's session of correlation and regression, we will be considering the price developments after after and before the ECB's interest rate decision. We will be looking at this increased volatility in aftermath of the ECB's monetary policy announcement, in which we have seen the sharp moves happening in the euro. The directional momentum is lacking. It has traded both ways and it has spiked on the lower side. First, it went into decline, and then afterwards, all those losses were recovered, and it also made a new swing high. Right now, it is trading, consolidating closer to 1.06 range, and we will have to consider the trading opportunities in light of its price moves in these highly volatile times. This is the USD JPY chart with the each candle period defined at 5 minutes. I have added the SMA 12 and SMA 24 to get us the price range for last 1 hour and 2 hour respectively, the average price prevailing over last 1 hour and 2 hour respectively. Along with that, I have this Donchian channel 24 and 48 in place to get us the price range for last 2 hours and 4 hours respectively. So this is the USD JPY chart, in which you can notice that the larger trend, the larger picture has been bearish for the USD JPY throughout today's trading session. It started this decline after making high closer to 133.22. From there on, it changed gear, and if we consider this price formation, it is of lower highs and lower lows, so all we have to do is keep looking for short selling opportunities in light of these price moves being decidedly bearish. If we consider the USD JPY's prior price formation in yesterday's session, also the USD JPY was looking pretty bearish. Even today, it is continuing in the same trajectory. There is not much of an change in its momentum. If we have to go for any trade in today's trading session, it will be better if we continue to short sell it or keep looking for opportunities to short sell. It has made this low at 131.75, and given the momentum is in favor of JPY, the Japanese yen, we will do well to keep trading with the trend and not go for any kind of catching the falling knife kind of situation, as we have this strong bias in the USD JPY of declining towards 130 in a coming session. Even in yesterday's session, I had talked about the possibility of USD JPY retaining its bearish undertone for quite a good amount of time, and I'm expecting the momentum to remain bearish for next couple of sessions, and we are likely to see a swing low below 130 in coming session, if not in today's session itself. Now the question is whether the USD JPY is the best placed bearish instrument. That is, if we have the momentum in favor of the JPY, or if we have better opportunities emerging in other currencies. If we look at the chart of the USD JPY, you can notice that the US dollar is on the back foot, and JPY has been appreciating against almost all the major currencies in this flight to safety kind of situation, because we saw the Credit Suisse fiasco, and after that the JPY appreciated substantially and euro went on to decline in yesterday's session. So that momentum is, I'm expecting, likely to prevail, and in that kind of environment, it is better to keep with the flow and go and try to exploit the situation to our advantage. So if we have to short the USD JPY, I would say that if for next hour or two, if the USD JPY holds around this 132 level and doesn't rise much beyond 132.5, then we can indeed look to initiate the short sell trade as and when the things start to look bearish again. So this current level around 132 is going to be key level to watch out for. It shouldn't go on to appreciate much from these current levels. It shouldn't really cross above the immediate swing high, which is there around 132.74. And if it does, then of course we have to brace for the sideways kind of scenario. The momentum is then likely to turn sideways, and we will have to then simply try to use the range for any trading opportunities, trading outcome. Now let us consider other major currencies. First, euro. For euro, the volatility is quite a lot. In this situation here, we saw the euro dipping around 30 pips immediately after the ECB's monetary policy announcement, and then after Ms. Lagarde's press conference started, again the volatility increased with these moves happening on both the sides. Now, if we have to trade in these circumstances, it is going to be a field task to figure out the directional basis and also the trade to take advantage of that directional bias. But looking at the chart, all you can say is that the range is expanding with bearish undertone for the Euro USD. There is not much of an conviction in these price moves. So we will have to be circumspect, and we will have to trade cautiously in this kind of scenario. Now, if we have to make sense of these price moves, we have to of course consider this range. The range is of around 70 pips from this low to the high, and if we consider the highs and lows formation, it is of lower lows and lower high. So as I said, it is simply consolidating with extended range and bearish bias. So even in a current scenario, it is better for us to keep looking for short selling opportunities, but we have to wait for the euro to again decline toward this immediate swing low and hold around that area for at least a couple of hours till we can feel confident enough about its sustainability of the bearishness. Its bearish undertone should become pronounced. In that scenario, we can expect it to make a fresh swing low and in course of time decline towards 1.050. So that possibility is there, but for that the immediate task is to wait it out, see if the euro USD goes on to decline and makes a fresh swing low, and then it should hold on these lower levels, around the lower levels, if not at the exactly lower levels, around the lower levels, around 20-30 pips range, and it should consolidate, and then we can indeed look to initiate the new short sell trade. So the euro is also having the bearish undertone in today's trading session. The JPY is the most bullish currency in today's session, as was the case in yesterday's session. Now let's consider the other major currencies and how things are shaping up for these. The AUD/USD has been consolidating with these sideways moves. The range has narrowed for the AUD. After this substantial rise during the Asian trading session, it has gone sideways for last couple of hours. For most part of the European trading session, it went in this narrow range of around 30 pips. And even now, after the start of the US trading session, things are not changing much. If we look at this price formation, it is of lower highs and lower lows. So if it again makes a fresh swing low, the outlook is likely to turn more pronouncedly bearish, and here also it is better to keep looking for short selling opportunities. We have to see if the AUD is more bearish or the euro is more bearish. Looking at the current scenario, the AUD is indeed looking slightly more bearish, but the volatility is not that much for the AUD. So if you tend to prefer more volatile instruments, then the euro would be a better choice. But if you are fine with this limited range, then the AUD is also there for trade. And given the increased volatility, if you feel safer, then that is also one reason to prefer the AUD. But nonetheless, our job is to see where the best momentum is, and in comparison to the euro, the AUD's momentum is not that strongly bearish. Instead, we have these sharp moves in the euro. So I would still prefer to trade the euro in light of these sharp moves on the lower side. Now let's consider the NZD. For NZD, things are not looking that bearish as is the case for euro and AUD. Here, a fresh swing high on the hourly range was formed by the NZD. After that, it wasn't really able to sustain, and it went on to make this low fairly close to the immediate swing low. So that makes our job equally difficult to figure out these momentum. The directional base is not that strong, so we will have to trade cautiously. It is also in a consolidation phase with slight bias on the bullish side. So in compared to the euro and AUD, it is looking slightly bullish. Not much difference is there. It is just slightly bullish in comparison to the euro and the NZD. And for other currencies, let us look at the developments in GBP, USD CHF, USD CAD. For GBP USD, the things are not that bearish as it has also made these fresh 4 hourly high. So we have the GBP much more aligned to the NZD USD, and if it holds around this 1.208 range near about this price area, then we will have some reasons to believe in its undertone turning bullish. But as of now, things are quite muddy. There, there is not much of an clarity on the charting, so we will have to allow it some more time for consolidation, and then maybe things will become much more clearer for us to take a directional bid. Right now, as I said, it is simply a matter of consolidation, and we will have to allow it to play it out and give us directional clarity. So GBP is also looking slightly more bullish in comparison to the AUD and Euro, but whether it is more bullish than NZD, then for that we will have to compare the timeline. And no, not really. The NZD is slightly more bullish in comparison to the GBP also. Now we will have to invert this case and consider USD CAD and USD CHF. For USD CAD, the momentum has turned bullish. The CAD is depreciating against the dollar after making this low at 1.372. We have seen the CAD depreciate 60 pips, and as a result of that, USD CAD has gone on to make this high, immediate swing high at around 1.38. Now, in this scenario, the obvious choice is going to be to go with the flow, but here also the same tactic has to be applied. The USD CAD does need to hold around these higher levels. It shouldn't go on to decline towards the lower swing low, prior swing low, and if it is able to hold, then only we will have much more clarity, and we can indeed think about initiating the new short sale trade for the CAD with the expectations of USD CAD climbing above 1.38 in coming hours. So the CAD is looking also lot bearish in comparison to the other major currencies. We saw that the AUD is also looking bearish. So we have some currencies looking bearish and some currencies looking bullish, with CAD being the most bearish and JPY being the most bullish of all the major currencies which we have seen so far. Now let's consider USD The USD CHF has also gone on to make these fresh swing high that puts the CHF in the bearish basket. Then the question is whether the CHF is less bearish or more bearish in comparison to the other currencies, and it is looking less bearish, of course, than the CAD. So it is not going to fall on the extreme side of the spectrum. That is for sure. It is going to be somewhere in the middle, and for that, we will have to compare its timeline with this timeline of the CAD. CAD is a clear winner with more bearishness, which is going to make the USD CAD as a better choice for any buy on dips trade in comparison to the USD CHF. And as I said earlier, the USD JPY is in a bearish environment with the possibility of it declining towards 130 being quite high. So we will have to go with the flow and keep looking for these opportunities in coming hours. So we have this whole spectrum of the possibilities in today's trading session where the dollar is dominating the proceedings against some of the currencies while it is on the back foot against other currencies. So this is a diverse market area, market dynamics where you will have to pick and choose which currency instrument to trade with and on which side. So there is a lot of headroom for you to maneuver and decide. Let's consider the equity segment before we wrap up the session. For US 30, the yesterday session was totally bearish. Let's consider how things are looking in today's trading session. And evidently, it is not looking much different in comparison to the yesterday's trading session. It has declined around 1 percentage point from the higher levels after making low closer to 31,400. Again, in today's trading session, we saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average dipping towards 31,600. Right now, it has recovered some lost ground, but I'm not expecting the momentum to change, and we are likely to see the Dow trade with the bearish bias in most part of today's trading session unless it changes course and goes on to make a fresh swing high above 31,900. In that scenario, we will have to wait for the things to offer us much more clarity. And if the Dow is able to hold about 31,900 for at least a couple of hours, then only we need to change our outlook, else we will have to keep looking for opportunities to sail on rallies in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now the question is whether the Dow is more bearish or less bearish than the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. For S&P 500, things are looking equally bearish, if not more so, in comparison to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. In terms of the percentage point decline, it is quite substantial, so there is not much of a change in this environment for the Dow and S&P 500. For the Dow, the decline was slightly more in percentage term, but that is a minor point. Now, before concluding, let us consider the price action for the Nasdaq also. and it appears platform is taking a lot more time. All right, let's consider the indices segment. It is taking some time. Let's wait. Okay, here comes US Tech, Nasdaq. And Nasdaq is apparently taking a turn on the higher side. So here the outlook is no more bearish, and we will have to see how things shape up after this fresh swing high has been formed. So we will need to allow the Nasdaq to stabilize and hold these levels at least for a couple of hours before we can think about initiating a long trade. But for Dow Jones Industrial Average and S&P 500, the things are not much different. So here also we will have to allow the stability to return before we can make our mind and initiate a new trade. And as the things seems to be turning with this retracement gathering pace, it will be better for us to sit on the sidelines rather than initiating a new short sale or even a new long trade at the current levels. So that's my outlook for today's trading session for these equity indices. Prior to this, I also explained to you the price dynamics in major currency crosses involving the US dollar, where we saw JPY being the most bullish and CAD being the most bearish currency for today's trading session so far. So if any of you have any query or any idea to share, do write to me in the feedback, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Thank you all for joining in. Have a fabulous time ahead, a profitable day ahead. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.